Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Season 6 of the Collegiate iRacing League College Cup Series. After a well needed off season, we're back at it again tonight. My name is Zach Lindler, alongside my co commentator John Dinkle and producer Christian Hill, and we'd like to welcome you to tonight's event.
Certainly, tonight we are at the Kansas Motor Speedway uh, for the Great Plains 200 for their Premier Series. These are all of the best drivers that the CIL has to offer. We're looking at like a decently warm track, about 46 degrees centigrade, with a small southwest wind. Uh, Looking at our previous standing, Jared Kaler is our current reigning champion, who's currently, we're looking at qualifying at the moment. He's currently eighth place. Drew Williams was our runner up last season, followed by Ryan Fenty. Esteban Munoz and Trey Talbot ran up the top five for our student class. We have two classes at the CIL this season and all seasons. The student class with all current students, and our alumni class for any graduated uh, personnel. Our alumni champion last season was Robbie Vrabel Jr., followed up by Matthew Nordberg, Colin Culpa in the third place last season, then Thomas Toomey and Nick Stockner.
Yeah, great roundup of last season's results. UNC Charlotte having another dominant season in the student series, and St. Clair College finally getting their championship through Robbie Vrabel Jr. in the alumni series. If you're new to the CIL or College Cup Series, we welcome you aboard for this season. If you're returning, welcome back. We missed you. For those of you who are new or who might need a refresher, the College Cup Series is the premier iRacing league for college students and alumni in the NASCAR division. Drivers have swapped their sponsors for school colors and logos and will take to the track this season for all the collegiate bragging rights when all the dust is settled. Well, tonight is the start of season 6 in the CCS, and we have a brand new schedule with many familiar and a lot of new faces. Our 7 race season stretched out over the course of this semester. We'll see lots of door banging, pate training, and maybe even some drama out on the track. Round by round, the drivers will earn points for themselves and their school, and when all the dust settles, we'll have an individual and school student and alumni champion. But for now, we're going to focus on the opening round of the College Cup Series, the Great Plains 200 here at Kansas Speedway. It's a mile-and-a-half track, steep banked, very, very wide. Makes for some very good racing, as we saw in last night's Prospect Series race.
Yes, I was in the booth for that race, and it was a very fun one to watch and commentate for. We saw a lot of different lines and tire strategy, and some pretty notable pit strategy triumphs and blunders from a notable few. Um, will be interesting to see because last night's race was 80 laps long, and tonight we're looking at 133 laps, um, which will definitely swap up the pit strategies some because of that extra distance. Uh, you have to wonder if some of these drivers will consider running long, if they'll try to be running, maybe they'll try to run short and get the most out of their tires really quickly.
It looks like qualifying has come to an end. The grid is rolling off of pit road. So we're going to take a look at tonight's starting grid here at the Great Plains 200. Starting on pole, with the two front row, we have two rookies, brand new to the Premier Series. Cody Carey from Ball State University and Zach DeWale from St. Clair College. Row 2, we have Jeremy Miller and the alumni from Purdue University with Ryan Lusich starting P4. P5, Andrew Williams from Clemson University in the 23, and Arb Muhammad Alif from Ball State University takes the 6th spot. Austin DeLong and Jared Kaler, our reigning champion, make up row 4 and P7 and P8. Row 5, Matt Nordberg from NC State and Athena LeClaire from St. Clair College. Thomas Toomey, the alumni from University of Virginia, takes up the 11th spot. Cody Fadenhauer starts P12, the alumni from VCU. Moving on to row 7, Tyler Stone and Esteban Munoz, a Canadian and an American from St. Clair College and FIU, respectively. And P15, Nick Stockner from Clemson University, the alumni.
In P16, we have, excuse me, and we're
Oh, they're
green for
already
those.
green. That was a really short pace lap. So green flag in the air here from Kansas already. Already some three wide action here. It looks like it's going to be Ryan Fenty in the 26, really sending it up the middle. What a move, gaining about 4 spots right there on the start of the race. Three wide up again. There you see on the top of your screen, that's Jared Kaler now in the number 1. He has elected to run the number 1 this year, as opposed to his usual 58, given that he is the champion. You see a car up in the wall. It looks like that may have been Cody Carey from Ball State. So the rookie move, little rookie move out of the rookie right there, but it looks like he kept it straight and will keep going. Zach DeWale will lead lap 1.
Yeah, I remember seeing in the prospect there was a lot of that kind of single car hitting the wall, so you really don't want to you really want to avoid that because the caution's not going to come out to help you. A lot of two by two action because as you look back in the field, but the front seems a very single file. Zachary DeWale still keeping the lead, but Jeremy Millerin having a trying to put some pressure on DeWale to see if he can take away that lead.
See a couple of St. Clair cars up there in that mix. You see the 33 of Tyler Stone, or excuse me, the 61 of Tyler 15 Leclerc and the 33 of Tyler Stone, followed by the 804 Cody Fadenhauer, 26 Ryan Fenty right there. Looks like going to split the uprights here. Fenty to the bottom, Fadenhauer up high. Fenty got loose, has to back out a little bit. Contact potentially between Fadenhauer and Stone there. We saw what happened with Kevin Harvick on Sunday when he got washed up in front of he got washed up in front of, I believe that was Ross Chastain right there off of 4, and it spun him around. Looking up here towards the front of the field, we see the 169 of Jeremy Millerin, followed by the 23 of Drew Williams and Zach DeWale. That's the battle for the lead right now. 3 cars really going at it. 2 cars side by side here for the second spot. Drew Williams up high, going to tuck in right behind Jeremy Millerin. Going to get a really good exit here down the front straightaway and try to run down the leaders.
Jeremy Miller put on some pretty good blocks to try to keep Drew Williams behind, but he takes the high line to try to take the second place position away from Jeremy Miller, and they make a bit of door banging, very, very light contact, not going to spin anyone out. But I think Drew Williams will have this spot unless if Miller has something to say about it, and he does. He makes a lunge down the inside, trying to get a good run off the inside, gets a bit
Oh,
loose and
contact.
runs Andrew Williams up high.
And I don't think Drew's going to be very happy about that move, as now here comes Jared Kaler and Austin DeLong. And it looks like both of them are going to take that third position from Drew. He's going to, yeah, he will lose both of those spots, looking kind of towards the middle of the pack here. There you see the 33 of Stone. Stockner going at it still with Fenty. I believe that's the 124 of Nick Stockner. Yes, it is. Going to look low, running with Tyler Stone. Fenty up top. That's one of the exciting things that we see here at Kansas in these next gen cars is there's just a ton of racing room on the track. This track is very wide and it has the progressive banking in the corners. And what that means is that the banking at the top of the corner is slightly steeper than the banking at the bottom. So you're going to be able to run a lot faster up high than you are down low, but you're taking the longer way around. And we're seeing drivers already presenting some hands, uh, trying to run this higher line while they still have fresh tires and taking the lower line to take the shorter way around.
Yeah, certainly. He kind of plays into that tire strategy as you can generally get a better run on fresh tires by running the high line because you can carry a lot more speed through the corner, but you cannot really do that for that long because your tires will not like that. They wear out very quickly. If you As the run goes on, you start to migrate down to the low line, start running basically running your left tires tiny bit of the apron to try to start conserving the tires. Looks like Ryan Lusich and Andrew Williams might have gotten a bit together. I think it was Drew Williams, who used to be in third. He's fought his way back up into that third position. Uh, could try to give Jeremy Miller a piece of his own medicine to get back into that second position.
I think we saw a great 3 wide send there from the 1 of Kaler. That feels weird to say. There on the front stretch to get past Ryan Lusich and Austin DeLong. Looks like Drew Williams tried to take the high line around Miller in there. Didn't quite work on entry. Miller got the better entry into 3. coming out of turn four, still an absolute gaggle of cars as DeWale is now pulled out from the front of the field by about a half a second. So DeWale is currently eyes forward, not really focused on what's happening in his rear view mirror right now as he sees this gaggle of cars going 2 and 3 wide behind him. All that's going to do is slow that pack down and let the leader advance even more.
Wow, Kaler in the number one making a very good and very brave move around the outside, having to get past Drew Williams to claim the third position. I think Drew Williams is going to make that move right back, exiting turn number four. But he got a pretty good run there. It's Drew Williams on the inside of Jeremy Miller in for second place. I think how this his number tended to act out today. I think he's going to have that position. Uh, because I think these drivers are kind of trying to nurse themselves through this early stage of the race instead of just being super aggressive.
And you're absolutely right. At this stage in the race, you're trying to figure out what your opponents are doing. We've just come out of the off season. You don't know who's gotten better, who's gotten worse, who's gotten more aggressive. And speaking of aggressive, Kaler again with a three wide send through the middle of Miller and Williams. He's going to look to the high side over Williams now to try and take away that second spot, getting down the back straightaway. But we saw last night we saw last night how tires really affected race strategy. We saw, like you said, some great pit strategy. We saw some not so great pit strategy, and I think we're going to see our first caution here. The yellow has been shown, so perhaps some pit strategy coming into play right now as we get a replay of maybe what happened here on the track.
Yeah, I had just mentioned about that not being too aggressive, and as I said that, Kaler had kind of nudged Miller into the wall. As I think, uh, which car is that? Is
Oh,
that the 26 of
yes,
Ryan
that is the
Fenty who
26 of
spun
Fenty.
around?
Looks like Fenty got a little too loose there on exit, overcorrected into the wall. He wasn't able to see who he hit coming up, but they're making contact with the 124 of Stockner on his way across the track. So just an unfortunate situation there for Stockner, but already we're seeing some cars come to the drivers. It's very hot and slick out there today. These corner exits are going to be very loose, so
Yeah,
you got to manage. You got to
it
manage
looks
your
like he
exits.
washed up into the path of Bradley Daniels in the 521 Camaro.
Looks like Daniel's car should be fine. Got a pretty good lift to the side there. Not so sure about Stockner and Fenty may have broken some toe links there in that contact, but uh, John, we had a iRacing update about a week ago where they introduced a brand new damage model to these Cup cars, these next gen Cup cars. When they were revealed, they were promised a more resilient body, more resilience against crashes. We're seeing that especially the toe links in the wheels are uh, very weak when it comes to hitting the wall multiple times. And I know we've seen some guys in practice and in the race last night, as well as when they were practicing for this event by running the A class and NIS series. That if you hit the wall one too many times, it's going to ruin your night.
Yeah, and I guess that's how it should be. The wall's not meant to be abused. You gotta nurse your car to the end. And I know we saw a lot of drivers kind of get really close to the wall. It's a high risk, possibly high reward because you have that buffer layer of air as you start to run near that wall. They can give you an extra bit of pace, but you run that risk of hitting that barrier and damaging your car. And it's not just the suspension damage, but it's also the aerodynamics. You don't want to lose out on your top speed because your body isn't shaped as it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Everything on the car has to be perfect in order to challenge for the lead. And speaking of, if you're just now joining us, welcome to the Great Plains 200. Under caution here at Kansas Speedway on lap 15 out of 133, we have a rookie, Zach DeWale, the student from St. Clair College, who is currently in the lead, followed by Jared Kaler from UNC Charlotte, Ryan Lusich, Drew Williams, Jeremy Miller, and making up your top five. It looks like pit road was open that time. Nobody came in, so we're going to see a restart on some older tires And as we mentioned earlier, tires are very, very important here at Kansas. They wear out on you very quickly, and when that wear goes away, you are fighting for grip in that car.
Yeah, it's really difficult once you start in your tires really old. You saw that in the prospect race last night. There was maybe 4 cautions over that 80 lap race, if I remember correctly, and every single time, pretty much um, every car went into the pits and got a fresh pair of tires. So we didn't really get to see too much of that long run as they start to go double file. This will be our last lap until we head back to green flag racing here at Kansas. But yeah, we never really got to saw that long green flag runs. So a lot of these rookies that we have in the field um, might be running into having a shot in the dark as uh, I anticipate we'll have some more cleaner racing once all these nerves have kind of settled down and everyone gets locked into a groove. Uh, yeah, I expect that we'll have some runs longer than 14 or so laps.
Yeah, and this track it produces great racing, as we saw earlier in the NASCAR Cup Series season and this past weekend. There you see the 26 of Fenty and the 124 of Stockner were able to make it back out on track. But looking back up towards the front, we have the O2 and the 1 side by side through turn 3. Kind of the restart 16 now. This will be 17 laps completed when they get to the line out of 133. So a little longer race this time around. So plenty of time to get your moves in, plenty of time to make things happen. But these restarts always sow a little chaos. Cautions breed cautions. Field comes out of turn 4. Pace car is off. The leader approaches the restart zone. And the green flag is back in the air here at Kansas.
Mega run coming from Zachary DeWell. He's already got about 3 car lengths out in front. He decides to take the high line. Kaler in the middle. Ryan Lusich on Kaler's low side, trying to take away that second position. Andrew Williams probably going to give him a bit of a bump draft in the fourth position uh, on the outside of Ryan Lusich. But I
The
don't think he'll
whale
have
has
that third position
absolutely
just yet.
dusted the field. Holy cow. Already out to a 4/10 lead as we come back to our first green flag lap of the run. Two by two they go. Behind him, with the exception of Kaler there in P2, you see Drew Williams and Ryan Lusich side by side entering turn 1. Everybody else 2 by 2 behind them. It's chaos back there. But it looks like this battle for this lead pack is going to tighten up a little bit coming off of turn 2 as these cars get single file, that they're able to run single file and not side by side and slow each other down.
Yeah, I'm certain these drivers will try to start getting back into the single file, running different lines avoid that dirty air because they know how long this race is. We've got over 100 laps left. They don't want to murder their tires. So yeah, a lot of these drivers getting back into that single groove, running that low line. I think that's Athena Leclerc that I see who's running too wide, exiting two, who's passing Jeremy Millerin in the number 169 Purdue machine.
Bina Leclerc and Matt Nordberg, that you see on the top of the track there, have broken into the top 10 for the first time tonight. Jeremy Miller may be falling back a little bit, these older tires not treating him as well as he thought they would this far into the run. But you see Leclerc and Nordberg still side by side. Now, they are not racing each other for position. In the CIL, as we mentioned at the top of the show, we have two classes. We have a student class and an alumni class, and both of those classes are scored separately. So if you're an alumni and you finish third, but you're the top alumni to finish, then you have won your class and you will receive the winner's points. So Athena Leclerc, the student, and Jeremy Millerin and Matt Nordberg, the alumni, those two are racing each other for a position right now. So it throws an extra wrench of strategy into your plan as you got to get around the people that you're not racing to find the next guy in front of you that you are racing for points.
Yeah, while you were saying that, just behind that battle involving, I think it was Athena Claire and Matthew Nordberg, behind them, Cody Fadenhauer happened to run a bit high. I think he made a bit of contact and hit the wall, but we're not going to see a caution for that, I don't think. I think he's trying to pull his car into the pits as we speak.
Yep, no caution yet, but he has gone 14 seconds back from the pack. So unfortunate to see there from Fadenhauer, who made a very strong run last night in the in the Prospect Series. A little more about our Prospect Premier Series. We have a special structure here in the College Cup Series in the CIL. We actually run two different oval series. We have our Premier
There's
Series, which is what you're watching tonight, and looks like we have another caution come out on the track. Let's see what happened here. But our Premier Series runs Tuesday nights, and this is what you're watching. And then, in order for our newer drivers to qualify for the Premier Series, they run in the Prospect Series on Mondays.
Ooh, looks like this caution has been caused by Cody Carey, the number 29 Ball State machine. Looks like he's spun on the back straight exiting turn two. Not quite. I think he just got loose. Uh, really unfortunate. He was running in P12 at the time. Uh, he was one of our rookies, so still getting used to how these CIL cars work, and he does keep himself out of the barriers, so he should be able to carry on. But our stewards will certainly grace him with the honor of a end of line penalty, where you once we get back to green, you'll have to slot in behind the longest line, which is certainly taking away that P12 and probably put him in I believe P30, which is a big shame for Cody.
As you see on your screen, green caution flag pit stops are underway. On lap 24, and you see everybody has come down to pit road. There you see Matt Nordberg in the 076, Jared Kaler in the 1 to 61 there as well. The 166 pit road is a busy place. Looks like Kaler is going to come off really well for the race off of pit road. But we're going to see how all of this stacks up potentially, maybe with some other cars that have stayed out.
Yeah, I think we have four cars that decided to stay out. It looks like it was Ryan Fenty, Alexander Hogarth, Nick Stockner, and Nick Maloche. I think most of these drivers pitted in the last caution. I think certainly Nick Stockner and Ryan Fenty, as they were involved in that accident, had to get some repairs. But Ryan Fenty had an EOL due to that caution, and now he's up in the first position. So I imagine this is entirely a strategical decision by the hands of Ryan Fenty and any sort of spotter of his. Not sure if he has one, but yeah, four drivers, not that much of a barrier to the drivers from P5 on back, who will all be on fresh tires. So we'll see if they'll be able to hold it. I'm not sure how well they will be able to keep that high position.
And we already saw we only got about 6 or 7 laps of green flag racing in that run. So in the grand scheme of things, these tires that your current leaders are on really aren't that much older than the people who pitted this time by. Looks like Ryan Fenty taking the Days of Thunder strategy of hitting the pace car there, trying to entertain himself during the caution period. But Fenty, Hogarth, Stockner, and Meloche, your top four, stayed out that time by. They have cycled up to the front. Your leader, Zach DeWale, and your leaders, Zach DeWale and Jared Kaler, starting on row 3 for this restart. Looks like they're going to be. Have they received the one to go yet? No, they have not.
Yeah, we still have one more, I believe, one more lap until we get back into green flag action. I think this will play decently for Cody Faden. No, he's Cody Fadenhauer's a lap down. He might get the free pass though, um, and get back onto the lead laps. That will be pretty beneficial for his race, but he will still be very far down on in the pack. But thankfully, he will be back on the lead lap and able to fight for some positions.
And I'm sure this is not the last caution that we've seen tonight. And there you see the lights on the pace car are out. The field is going to go double wide this time by, I believe.
Yep, looks like this will be our last lap until we get back under green.
I do want to
Actually,
give a
looks
shout out to Zach DeWale, though. Coming in from St. Clair College, obviously a very dominant program or prominent program here in the CIL. They've really beefed up their numbers over this break. But for a rookie to come out and to challenge the likes of Jared Kaler and Drew Williams and Thomas Toomey and Ryan Lusich, a lot of your people that you see in the top 10 consistently, for him to get up there and to really challenge for the lead and to hold it. I believe he's led every single lap of this race thus far until this caution. Uh, Massive, massive points to him. I think we're going to be looking for a lot of him this season, and especially I know St. Clair will be. But coming to the green flag this time by, the field is once again double wide, poised to strike. Pace car is off. Field comes out of four as the leaders approach the restart zone. And we are green, green, green at Kansas once again.
Hogarth fell back quite a bit on that restart. He's now going to fall back into P3 behind Nick Stockner in the 124 machine, and Zachary DeWale in the 02. Just
Ooh,
certain that the
little
fresh
trouble off
tires.
of turn two right there. I think a car got loose through the center, maybe some contact. We're going to see if a caution comes out. Looks like everybody was able to keep it going. No caution yet, but we are 3 wide up at the front of the pack as Ryan Fenty got an absolutely brilliant restart there. Gapped the field by a half a second through this first lap here, but Zach DeWale is currently tracking him down. The 6-lap newer tires putting him to work as he takes it around. Nick Stockner going to go along the high side, get a better run down the back straightaway here as he carries Drew Williams in tow. Two Clemson teammates side by side right there. Wondering if maybe there's some strategy teamwork calls right now as there you see Jared Kaler and Thomas Toomey jump into the mix. Thomas Toomey starting from the middle rear of the pack has now crawled himself into the top six, now looking for that top five position. Nick Stockner falling through the field 3 wide, maybe some contact right there between Stockner and Kaler as Kaler tried to go around him. Obviously, Stockner's tires have fallen off very much as he now loses out in that top 5 position and will now be passed by Ryan Lusich for P6. So there we see the tire shredder at work here at Kansas. It's like driving over sandpaper as Stockner got loose and bounced into the wall. He's going to go for a little ride here in the infield, keep it straight. Looks like he's going to be able to, and we stay green here. But already we're seeing some tire woes from pit strategy here.
Ooh, but it's getting quite tight in turn 4. Jeremy Miller and getting quite a bit of a scare, and Daniel Hunter and Tyler Stone making contact as well as they head into turn number 3. Most of the cars up front are single file with a big pack stuck behind Thomas Toomey. Uh, Hogarth still losing quite a few positions, I see, but uh, double wide from about P15 on back for a lot of cars. I think that's 3 wide, but yeah, lots of contact being made midway down this field. A lot of drivers trying to scrounge for any points they can muster out of their uh, out of their race cars.
The track is being broken in, the rubber's being laid down. We've heard from drivers during practice and from yesterday's session as we ride it on board in more ways than one with Nick Maloch. Is Jeremy Miller and looks under him. We have seen this track tighten up a lot over the course of a race because that rubber just means grip. When you have more grip, that car tightens up. So, like you said, turn 4 especially, that wall comes up and it hits you really, really quickly.
Tyler Stone making a move on Nick Maloch, who we're riding on board with, making the pass pretty cleanly. Not really a slide job, just a nice clean move. And now Esteban Munoz, a very experienced CiL driver, passing him as well as they head into 2 and hits the wall, it appears, but he will stay off of it during the turn. But I think he was one of our drivers who stayed out, so maybe just a couple laps. I think it was 6 laps is enough to make these tires not as grippy as they are when they're fresh.
If you're the rest of the field, you're definitely looking at what happened to our leaders on that restart. Fenty's still up in the lead pack. He just lost the lead that time by to Drew Williams from Clemson University, has now assumed the lead. But you're wondering if all these other drivers on the track have taken a look at what's happened to them and said, maybe we don't want to do what they did. The drivers do have 5 sets of extra tires tonight because of the abrasive nature of this racetrack. Race control has given them extra tires to use, and you bet that they will be used in pretty much every caution that we see.
Yeah, certainly. I imagine if you're gonna try to do a strategy where you stay out on a caution, you don't want 4 cars in total to stay out. You want probably 8 or 12. Uh, oh, we do have a caution. Not quite sure the cause of the caution at the moment.
Another caution here in the Great Plains 200, Kansas, our season opener for season 6 of the College Cup Series. Drew Williams has maintained the lead that time by Zach DeWale in second place, Thomas Toomey in third, Ryan Fenty in fourth, and this is the caution that Fenty needed. And it looks like a nasty lick here on the backstretch. Uh, looks like just looks like maybe not enough room left.
Yeah, it looks like this incident is involving Ricky Paz in the Valparaiso number 19 machine and Daniel Hunter in the number 49 St. Clair College machine.
We're gonna get a view of that crash here in just a second. Believe that's the 49 of Daniel Hunter, one of the St. Clair drivers. Looks like a little contact may have made. The 49 may have came up, and who's that? Who's the other car right there? Do you see who it was? A 19. That's Jeff Pete out of University of Minnesota. So two northern cars getting into it right there. Daniel Hunter and Jeff Pete involved in that one right there. So yeah, we talked about the track tightening up. You got to leave the space, and it looks like the track may have tightened up a little more than we thought for these two drivers, and just an unfortunate incident for both of them. Or excuse me, not Jeff Pete, Ricky Paz. The 19 is Ricky Paz. We did have some number changes through the off season, so bear with us here, folks. We're learning too. Looking at the 119 of Jeff Pete here, and just
Ooh,
got caught up in it.
that's unfortunate. Not really anywhere he could go. He tried to go low and just got tapped by the 49 car. We did just see a lot of cars run on the pit road. I believe Nick Malosh was one of them, and most of those cars that stayed out on track decided to take this opportunity to run into the pit lane. Looks like Ryan Fenty was also one of those cars, so he's fallen back into what I believe is position number 20. So we'll see if he'll be able to get some of use those new tires and to climb up some of those spots that he's now lost.
The leaders stayed out. We have some cars towards the back of the pack pitting, like John said. So once again, pit strategy coming into play here at this track. We're going to see how that carries. We know we've already seen that even the slightest amount of green flag on the tires degrades it like crazy. So these leaders are obviously going to be a little slower than the back of the pack when they get up to speed here on the green flag. Very up and down day for St. Clair College. If you're watching right now, you've got a car who just crashed out of the race or took some pretty considerable damage. Hopefully, he'll be back in the race uh, through, excuse me, Daniel Hunter. And then you have Zach DeWale, who has led a majority of this first part of this race and is currently challenging for the lead, restarting P2. And then kind of looking towards the back, I see Tyler Stone and Athena Leclerc, two other St. Clair drivers as well. So obviously a lot of good things for St. Clair going on for them right now, and one not so good thing, but that's the nature of racing on these tight oval tracks like this.
Well, I believe that he used his single fast repair. Every driver in our field gets one iRacing fast repair, which restores your car to how it was when the race had begun. So it looks like he is in P24, Daniel Hunter in the 49 St. Clair Camaro. So he is still in this race. He's still in the lead lap. So did Cody Fadenhauer. He got the lucky pass this caution. So there are some diamonds in the rough here that for some of the drivers further down back that they can still contest for some good positions today.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder, John. I forgot that the fast repair was a thing. Coming once again to the restart. The field is 2 by 2. Drew Williams, Zach DeWale in the lead. Jared Kaler, Thomas Toomey make up row 2. Ryan Lusich, Matt Nordberg, row 3. Approaching the restart zone, pace car is off, and Drew goes. Green flag back in the air here at Kansas. Although Drew did not get a very good restart that time, Zach DeWale is right to his outside entering turn 1. Perhaps those old tires came into play right there. As you look towards the back of the pack, there you see a couple of cars already slicing their way up through the field, making it 3 wide, but we still have a battle up here for the lead. Zach DeWale going to look low, stick it right to the quarter panel of Williams. And they're going to be 2 by 2 through the middle of 3 and 4, and that's going to open the door for Kaler to come up the outside here. He's now side by side with the 0-2 for second place. Going to try and put the move here on Williams to the outside into turn 1. Thomas Toomey, Matt Nordberg, Jeremy Miller, and right behind them another pack of 3 cars, closely followed by 2 more. So very close racing here for the lead off the restart, just like unlike what we've seen before.
We've got a car around. We've got another caution. I
And
believe
just
that was
like that,
Scott
it
Ratliff
stopped.
who had spun out of turn number 2. Who's still running, but I think they did hit the wall. So we're only gonna see about 1 lap of green flag action, and we're back under caution at Kansas.
Scott Ratliff in the 747. Let's see what happened to him here. Stuck on the bottom of a 3 wide here. Through turns 1 and 2. Gonna wash up, maybe? Oh. Looks like who was that? Who was that above him there in the middle? Hard lick to the inside wall. Can't quite see the number. The 006.
That looks to be Colin Culpa in I think it's the University of Indiana. And on the outside of Culpa was Tyler Stone in the number 33 St. Clair machine.
Looks like Culpa may have not realized that he had as much space up top as he did, and you can see he corrected down low, and that just unfortunately sent the 747 of Ratliff into a spin and a nasty hit to the inside wall. But it looks like he was able to keep it rolling. And once again, we see the tight exits coming back to bite people. You leave the space, and then sometimes when you do leave the space, you run out of space and you have to overcorrect into the guy below you. And it's just an unfortunate a racing incident for both cars involved there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. These cars don't have the best visibility, and not all these drivers have a human spotter. I think only about 6 drivers in our field, or maybe it's only 5, have a human who's spotting for them tonight. So when you have a human spotter, they can see a lot more. They can discern information a lot better, and really just be sort of like a coach, telling you things and keeping you cool behind the wheel. Where the computer spotters that the rest of our field is using doesn't really help them as much. Pretty much only tells them when to pit and who's on their outside or inside, not really closing speeds or really much else. So I think that's one of those situations where having a spotter can really tell you like, oh, he can tell you how close they are on your inside, and not just that they're there. So that definitely would have helped there to have a human spotter, but not all these drivers have the luxury. It's not something we require, so it's just unfortunate. The stewards kind of split under this one as they still wait to give a official uh, statement about the outcome of that incident.
So the field will re-rack and run it back. Spin by Scott Ratliff after contact with another car brings out the current caution, working on lap 44, coming to lap 45. We should get the one to green this time by, which will put us just over a third of the way through. There's still a lot of racing left, so a little bit of a war of attrition right now going on. The cars up front are going to be the ones who are going to be the ones who survive, and the ones who stay out of trouble. Excuse me, this will be 45 to the green flag as the field is now side by side. Pace car is off in the restart zone. Drew Williams gets a much better restart that time, and the green flag is back in the air.
Very good start for Andrew Williams, pulling about a car length and a half away from Zachary DeWale. Thomas Toomey defending against Jeremy Millerin as they exit turn two. They're still side by side. Jeremy Millerin going to get the draft off of Jared Kaler heading into turn three at the moment. Toomey making a nice and aggressive move down the not aggressive move down the inside. Jeremy Millerin still giving it a very tough battle and ultimately pulling out as the leading car in the fourth position. Toomey slotting behind, going back down to the inside, and Kaler up into the running really close to that exterior wall, trying to make a move happen on Zachary DeWale. He might get that second position away uh, as a lot of drivers start trying to just see what they can get, but not being too aggressive. It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, Drew Williams will lead that lap by and has retained the lead here, but not for long as here comes Jared Kaler looking to his outside. Kaler has become a very big fan of running that high line right after the restart. Seems like he's found a lot of grip right there as he's going to get a huge run down the back straightaway. Will definitely clear the 23, has cleared the 23 into the corner. Looks like Williams going to try and go a little lower this time. Doesn't have anything for the one of Kaler. Jared Kaler will be your new leader this time by. The front two nose to bumper, or not nose to bumper anymore as Kaler pulls away, but still some great two wide action, three wide right there into the corner. As you saw, it looked like Fenty, Nordberg, Whitlock there for the seventh position behind them. Lucic, Toomey, and Fenty locked in a great battle right now for the fourth position as Zach DeWale has now cleared Lucic for P3. Although it looks like Drew Williams isn't quite done with Kaler yet, going to try and reel him back in here. But you've got to be thinking, what is all this lane switching? What is all this hard running? These loose exits? What is that doing to the tires?
Yeah, we see Andrew Williams trying to make that move down the inside to get past the number one of Jared Kaler. Isn't going to make it happen. When Jared Kaler got by, it seemed like the 23 had a bit of a wiggle. I have to wonder if that was just due to how it was driving or if the tires are starting to bite on the rear axle. We see the fight for P3 between Zachary Duell and Ryan Fenty. It looks like Fenty had gotten that position away. He's going to take the third position and start to pressure Andrew Williams for his second place position as we start lap number 50.
And we saw that strategy work out absolutely perfectly for Fenty after his collision with Stockner to bring out the first caution of the race. He was able to get that caution about 10 laps ago, and now he's able to make the pass almost on Drew Williams for the second position. But it looks like Fenty will retain that second position and will challenge for the lead this time by. He will get it. We have a new leader, Ryan Fenty. So it looks like maybe the tires on Kaler running out a little bit, or maybe Kaler is in save mode, just trying to defend from the 23 of Williams. But Ryan Fenty has done an excellent job with his strategy after that unfortunate collision to work his way into the lead on lap 51.
Yeah, massive gap we've got now from P3 to up to P2. Uh, Looks like Drew Williams has kind of lost out a bit of pace as he now has to challenge
Ooh,
against
three
Zachary
wide.
DeWale and Ryan Lucic. Three wide, they cross the start finish line. Ryan Lucic in the 139 on the inside of the O2 of DeWale. Looks like he might check out a bit
Oh,
because
trouble. Miller in around.
we've got a wreck.
Somebody just spun Miller in.
Ooh,
Saw
looks
some
like I
great
think
three wide
it's
action right there. Man.
Hunter Muhammad Alif involved. Was it Ryan Whitlock? I believe might have been involved.
We're going to get a replay here in a couple of seconds, but some great racing there. We saw the 02, the 23, and the 139 three wide for that entire straightaway. Kind of looking back, only a few spots from the leaders here. Stockner tried
Mm.
sending it up the inside of Miller in and just collected a whole gaggle of cars. Ooh, the 9 had a hard hit into the wall, got collected, and it's Esteban Munoz. There you see the 804 of Cody Fadenhauer involved as well, and a couple more cars. So the big one at Kansas strikes. There you see the 9. He got sent pretty hard into the wall as collateral. Gonna get another view here of the action. There you see Millerin came down on the. I'm not sure if he came down to the 124 or if that was a glorious send by Stockner's part. That's for the stewards to decide, not us. As there you see, he collects the 81, um, the 804, the 61 of Athena Leclerc also involved. So a lot of really really good cars involved in this wreck at the front of the field. It's amazing that it didn't collect any other ones. 81 is of Ryan Whitlock from the University of Alabama, Huntsville.
We see a lot of cars now running down the pit road. Uh, I guess a lot of them trying to realize that they need to have these fresh tires to have a good chance of competing, and also a lot of these drivers needing to get a bit of repairs on their car, especially those that are involved in that incident that caused this caution. Um, Drivers such as Jeremy Miller and Ricky Paz, Stockner were entered the pits. Looks like I think it's Ryan Fenty who has gotten off the pit road in the first position out of those who pitted. Jared Kaler in second, and DeWell in third. I believe pretty much most of the cars that decided to pit, but I think we have three that stayed out on the track. The 98 of Nick Maloche, the 09 of Tristan Yoder, the 49 of Daniel Hunter, who I believe had a bit of damage from that incident, although I think it was minor damage. Alexander Gagnon in the 79 machine, and Colin Kolpa in the 006 all stayed out of the pits as they start coming around to start number 55 under caution.
There you saw the race off of pit road. Great camera work from our producer to show you that Ryan Fenty won the race off of pit road, followed by Jared Kaler, Zach DeWale, Drew Williams, and Thomas Toomey will round out the top 10 on this restart. Now, Colin Culpa and Daniel Hunter, I believe, had damage due to prior incidents here on the track, so they were able to come down pit road and pick up some new tires before this caution. So we're going to find out if that works out in their favor. But as the history we've seen at this track goes, doesn't look like it will help them much. Only 5 cars is that lead pack of cars that stayed out, and then you hit the leaders: Fenty, Kaler, DeWale, Williams, Toomey. But yeah, just close quarters racing. Not sure if it was an eager send by Stockner or overly defensive driving from Miller in there. But like I said, it's not for us to decide. It's up to the stewards, and I'm sure they'll have a decision out soon.
It looks like they have made a decision. They think that that was a ambitious send on the responsibility of Stockner, so he will be given an EOL, an end of line penalty, uh, as we look to come back under green flag racing in 1 or 2 laps time. Kind of unfortunate turn of events for Nick Stockner, but he was already pretty far back, so this EOL will not hurt his race that much as the incident already has. So it's not
Well,
too
and
much of a penalty, but
if you know
just
that you're going to be
insult to
starting,
injury.
if you know that you're going to be starting from the back of the pack, you might as well come down pit road and get some stuff fixed up. Obviously, he's going to have damage from that wreck. There's a couple of big hits there with the 169, so he was able to fix that damage or at least part of it and get back out on the track. But as of right now, we still have all registered cars out on the track. That fast repair, like you mentioned earlier, really coming into play. But going back to current events, Colin Culpa from Indiana is our leader, followed by Alex Gagnon from Robert Morris University, Daniel Hunter, the rookie from St. Clair College, and Tristan Yoder and Nick Maloche in the 09 and 98 round out the top 5. Ryan Fenty, Jared Kaler, Zach DeWale, Drew Williams, Thomas Toomey, top 10 for this restart. We will go green on lap 57, working on lap 56 right now. So Almost at the halfway point of this Great Plains 200, the opening season, the opening race of our fall 2022 season of the College Cup Series. We're glad you all could join us. If you're just now joining us, welcome. It's about to get real. Pace car is off. The field comes out of turn 4, approaching the Geico restart zone. 006 is the control car. He goes, and we are back to green at Kansas.
Mega run or mega gap made from the 006 of Colin Culpa. It looks like he has about 3 car lengths to the second position of Alexander Gagnon, who has
Lee, what a send.
Daniel Hunter on his inside and some 3 wide action further back, but I think they'll all keep it clean as we exit turn number 2. Daniel Hunter getting a nice move, nice run as they head into turn number 3. I think he might have this move made, but I think he has a car right behind him, Zachary DeWell. I believe he pitted, right? So I think he will have
Yes.
a pretty easy move made for the second position.
And Colin Culpa has opened up a 1 second lead from him back to second place here in this opening lap of this green flag run. There you see Daniel Hunter in the 49, the rookie, trying to put the block on the 166 of Toomey. And I believe that is the 02 of Zach DeWale. So DeWale and Hunter are teammates. So if you're St. Clair, you probably got some ideas as to where you want this to go. But obviously, 2 rookies from St. Clair going at it against some very, very seasoned veterans. The 166 of Toomey from Virginia and the 1 of Jared Kaler, our reigning champion. It looks like a little bit of contact there between the 02 and the 49. The 49 had to check up a little bit, and that's going to allow Kaler to make a huge 3 wide send underneath the 2 of them. Going to split the uprights around DeWale here. DeWale's going to wash up just a bit into his teammate. Looks like they kept it clean, and they are still 3 wide through the corner. DeWale a little loose out of the turn. Kaler's going to clear both of them. That now opens the door for Toomey to come down to the inside, as well as Drew Williams in the 23 from Clemson.
Yeah, we could see a lot of these cars that are on those fresh tires trying to make the most out of what they've got now that they have some really grippy tires beneath them. I believe that there could have been some team orders between some of those St. Clair College. I think it was one of them who blocked me from making his run. I think it was Drew Williams getting a pretty loose from touching the apron out of 4, and he's going to lose a bit of time to Dwell in front, and is going to have a move made on him by Thomas Toomey. He's very experienced here. He won last night in the Prospect Series, qualifying him easily for this race tonight. DeWell losing a lot of time. He's going to get passed on the outside and the inside from Toomey and from Drew Williams to lose 2 positions on the back straight.
Also under fire now from the 26 of Fenty up top. It looks like he's going to clear the 02, and the 139 of Ryan Lusage down low will also get by him. So already we're seeing these older tires come into play. Great stand there from the 02, but it looks like he just doesn't really have enough right now to try and get around it. Maybe his tires haven't come up to temperature yet, but Drew Williams has come out to about a 1/10 lead as we have a caution now. Again, Colin Culpa's 1 second and a tenth lead over second place Kaler has now vanished.
I was watching Ryan Fenty at the time. I thought his moment of getting loose caused that, but no, there
I
was
thought he
some
was too.
action further back. And I'm trying to understand what happened, but it looks like Toomey got
Toomey got turned.
spun. That might ruin his chances of getting a double win this week at Kansas. Looks like he has some
And his
pretty
car
terminal
is
damage on his machine.
Yeah, you can see that right front tire sticking out in places where it really shouldn't be. So once again, close quarters racing out of turn 2. I think that's where we've seen almost every wreck tonight. Is the entire field scrambles to go down beneath them, and the 19 also collects the 98 right there. And it's 98 of Nick Maloch, another St. Clair driver involved in a wreck.
Yeah. Kind of just this cautions breed cautions idiom of such that we quote so often. We know that uh, Looks like Toomey had kind of tried to run high, seeing that the 26 of Ryan Fenty was loose. He was going to go low, but just did not. He was not really clear on the outside. The 0-2 spinning him around, and ultimately he was a roadblock that some of these drivers didn't happen to avoid. It looks, I think it was the 19 of Ricky Paz who made a very late uh, movement of the steering wheel to get out of the way and ultimately hitting the hitting Nick Maloche.
Yeah, and two hard hits there for Paz and Milosh right there. So hopefully they'll be able to. Hopefully both them and Toomey will be able to limp it down to pit road and get those cars fixed up and come right back out on the track. But we mentioned right before, right after the caution, Colin Culpa had a at one point had a second and a half lead on the field as the rest of the lead pack was side by side for position behind him. That allowed him to open up a massive lead or massive lead, excuse me. Uh, but all that lead is now gone as the caution has come out. There you see the 006 as the leader. Looks like the field is going to get the two to go signal this time by. Colin Culple, your leader, Jared Kaler worked his way up into the second spot after some great moves. Both he and Drew Williams, who is starting third, made some great moves on that restart to make their way around the cars on older tires. Ryan Fenty in the 26th, after crashing early in the race, has worked his way back into the top five. And Zach DeWale, the rookie, is still holding on to a top five position. So you got to commend him for his efforts so far in this race. Hopefully, he can bring home a good finish there for the St. Clair Saints. Behind him, Ryan Lusich in the 139, followed by Matt Nordberg, 076. The 81 of Ryan Whitlock will restart 8th. The 61 of Athena Leclerc in ninth. And Austin DeLong in the 22 machine is a name that we haven't really called out tonight in the top 10, but he has now made his way up into the top 10. It's a big run for him.
Yeah, although out of those top 10 drivers, looks like Ryan Whitlock has gained a lot of positions compared to how he started this race. He started in the 23rd position. He's made up uh, a lot of spaces. Got to commend him for that.
You see Jeremy Millerin has worked his way back up into the 12th position following the 33 machine after his involvement with an incident with Nick Stockner and about half the field a few laps ago. Big pileup here into turn one. So good to see him working his way back up to the front as well. As the field has gotten the one to go signal, we will go green this time by, working on lap 66, coming to lap 67. So approaching the halfway, we're at the halfway mark of this Great Plains 200, the season opener for CIL Fall 2022 season. If you're just now joining us, thanks for tuning in. You've missed an action packed race so far, but I'm sure there's no shortage of on track action to be had for the rest of the race. And if you've been with us this far, well, I'm sure you can certainly vouch for everything that's happened here on track. It's certainly been exciting. No shortage of action and beating and banging and trading paint. And it's all about to start again. The field working their way through the center of turns 3 and 4. Jared Kaler, Colin Culpa in the front row. Pace car has pulled off of turn 4. The field side by side approaching the Geico restart zone one more time. Here we go. Green flag is back out at Kansas.
Very good run for Colin Culp, about 3 car lengths as they head into turn 1. Not much Jerry Kaler can do about that, but he
Oh,
doesn't have to
another
fight,
spin.
and we
Austin
don't get a
DeLong
lap.
just got turned. And the caution is back out.
I believe that was Muhammad Alif and who else? Ethan Decatur were involved in that one. They're currently stopped on track.
Gator, Ratliff, Gagnon, Alif, Munoz, DeLong, all involved in that. This is another big incident right here on the restart. But it's like you said earlier, John, cautions breed cautions. Let's see what happened here. Jeremy Miller and maybe looking. Oh, no, there's another incident behind him. So this was two isolated incidents. Um, There was one up towards the middle of the pack. This one at the back of the pack looks like close quarters racing gone wrong. I'm going to take a look at the other incident here, possibly another angle, and see what happened here. It looked like maybe the 169 had made another virtuous send underneath the 22 and not made it out. Not very many cars involved in that incident, but unlike the incident at the back of the pack, a lot of wrecked cars coming out of that one. It is the second incident that the number 9 of Munoz is involved in, so he might be done for the night for damage, as he's probably used his fast repair. Let's take a look. This is the incident towards the front of the pack. Yep, Miller in with a little bump and run right there. And I think the stewards will definitely have something to say to the 169 about that one. That was a little too cleanly executed. But there you see he sent the 22 of Austin DeLong around and that collected a bunch of other cars in it as well.
Yeah, some of these drivers, I think they're really starting to get antsy. There'd only be about 10 laps left if this was the Prospect Series race last night. So I have to wonder if some of these drivers have kind of felt like just chronologically that the race should be about over, then you make their moves. But no, we've only about crossed halfway a couple laps ago. So these drivers need to chill some. It's kind of you can't be aggressive on these starts. You gotta know what battles you can fight, and I think a lot of these drivers are picking battles that they shouldn't.
You see the 119 of Jeff Pete involved there, and the 33 uh, barely got clipped. I don't know how Tyler Stone made it through that one alive, but that has got to be pure luck for the 33 machine. But yeah, John, you're right. The drivers have got to calm down. There's a lot of nerves right here. There's obviously going to be some tempers with being the nature of real time racing. Things not going your way, but this is chaos out here. The drivers have got to settle down. They've got to get in the right headspace and look forwards. Uh, the the league administrators this offseason decided to go with a little bit longer race distances, hoping that it would breed some better racing and uh, more accurately reflect the conditions of really being in a cup race, these long, almost endurance style races. So you're starting to wonder if maybe these drivers are getting a little fatigued after being out here. We're going on right at an hour on track, and we've just barely made it over the halfway point.
Yeah, certainly the fatigue can really get you. These oval races, since you're always turning left, the fatigue it can hurt your arms. Even though I use a pretty weak wheel, a Logitech G29, so it doesn't hurt you that much. But on oval races, it adds up. I'm certain that there's a couple drivers in here that really just want to pull over and just call their race done because of their arms are hurting. But you still got about 50 laps to go, so you got to just kind of buckle down, keep running, trying to get those points for a championship here.
It's physical fatigue, it's mental fatigue in that you've been running for so long and that you're just ready for it to be done. You're ready to finally get a good green flag run in. But it's also a little emotional fatigue, especially if you've been involved in one of these wrecks where maybe you weren't at fault, somebody hit you, you had nowhere to go, especially in one of these wrecks in the entry to the corner like this, like we saw this past time. But that really digs under your skin as a driver, and it just irks you. And part of being able to compose yourself and getting up to the front where you see guys like Kaler and Williams and Whitlock all the time is that they're able to keep themselves composed after all this happens. But hopefully, we'll get a good green flag run this time by the field. Once again, 2 by 2. Colin Culpa is your leader in the control spot as they approach the Geico restart zone. Culpa is going to bring back the green flag. We are back to racing at Kansas.
Feels like a broken record. Another very good run for Colpa. So much Ryan Finke going to be on the inside as they enter turn one, trying to take the second place away from our reigning champion Jared Kaler uh, in the number one car. Andrew Williams right behind, getting single file now. Further back, looks like Ryan Whitlock's trying to make a move on the inside of Ryan Lusich as they go through turns 3 and 4. Won't be able to get down there. Uh, Bit of side by side action between Ryan Fenty and Jared Kaler for that second position, still going on as they enter turn one again. I think after about at least one lap, and all these drivers have realized, yeah, no, we need to be safe, and I think this is proving here. Looks like that 006 is not getting its run as it used to have. It's
Massive
fallen
run
back.
from
It's the
Kaler there,
only
yeah.
car on the low line up front, and I think that's gonna be uh, Jared Kaler up front now in that number one machine.
Yeah, these restarts absolutely blow up your tires. It uses so much of the tire to get the car moving because these cars are so heavy. Uh, that any restart just immediately places an immense amount of stress on the tires. And there we're seeing that stress finally take effect on Colin Culpo. 3 restarts in a row for him on those already older tires. They were about 7 or 8 laps older than the rest of the field. And you can see he is now just dropping like a rock. As we focus back up to the lead now, Kaler and Fenty essentially side by side, crossing the line that time by Kaler will lead. But Fenty gonna look to the inside now underneath Kaler. The 26 versus the 1. It still feels weird to say the 1 of Kaler. He has historically run the 58, but we started a new tradition here in the CIL where if you are the student winner, you are reserved for the number 1 the following season. Kaler elected to run the number 1, so now he's running in the number 1 machine. But you can see absolutely no change from these two from the past season. Two championship front runners already showing their hands and going full force at each other, still side by side after 3 laps. Here at Kansas for the lead. There you see the 02 of Zach DeWale and the 23 of Andrew Williams following close behind, trying to prowl. The 02 going to present a hand here against the 26. The 26 got way loose on entry right there. And that's going to open the door for the 02 and the 23 to fall in right behind him. And now they're going to start thinking about moves to make on the 02 to try to, or excuse me, they're going to try to think about some moves on the 26 to go and challenge the 1.
Yeah, we know that these tires will not last that long, and you want to have those fresh tires, but they cannot keep battling like they do. We see that these drivers on a restart with old tires, they just fall back like a stone in water. So I'm certain that after a couple laps, they're just deciding, no, let's just fall back a bit, try to conserve our tires. But no, he's right back onto that inside line, trying to make a move stick on number one of Jared Kaler, and it can't really stick this lap, but I think he might have a good run as Jared Kaler gets a bit of an oversteer moment as he also comes around some lap traffic of the 49 of Daniel Hunter on the inside line. He decides to go high, get some clean air. Ryan Finch runs right behind, uh, trying to just run in the groove, get a nice draft going. Most of these cars are choosing to run that same line that the leader is for most of these turns, but 26 goes low, not in the same line as that lap traffic, and he's going to pull alongside. He might get a side draft going down the back straight, but he falls back.
And we've seen all night how the 1 of Kaler prefers that high line. He prefers running all the way up against that wall, possibly taking inspiration from Kyle Larson, who's infamous in the NASCAR Cup Series for running just inches off of that high line at these mile-and-a-half tracks like this. Um, but the 26 of Fenty is trying everything he can to get around. Looks like Kaler going to take a defensive line there, going to try and take Fenty's line away through 1 and 2. They're both going to come back out of the back straightaway. Still the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as when we restart, or as when the field shook out after the restart. Kaler, Fenty, DeWale, Williams, Whitlock. Now your top 5.
Yeah, most of these cars slotting into a single, pretty single file action. I think they've realized that they really need to just have a nice long green flag run, like I've been saying. it's kind of getting old having just 1 or 2 laps green flag running. So looks like they might have a nice run going. The field's starting to get a little spread out, and you basically just have to worry about the 1 car in front of you, not the 6 that are in front of you. Uh, so
There
pretty
you
much
can
just seems like
see.
a battle between Kaler and Fenty at the moment. Neither one is going to surrender. I can tell
And
you that.
I think right now, as we're getting into a rhythm, you're gonna see the cars not really be as aggressive. The drivers right now realize, hey, we've still got, just over 50 laps remaining in this race. There's still a lot of time to make some moves. The track is gonna change, the car's handling is gonna change. It's gonna way tighten up as these tires run out. So you're going to see maybe some drivers being more conservative uh, in these next about 20, 30 laps until we start seeing. I think we'll see if we stay green, we'll see one round of green flag pit stops. These drivers do have two additional sets of tires. Looks like 26 got loose there, and we're going to have a caution collected the O2. And just when we started talking about tires, it all goes so wrong for Ryan Fenty in the 26.
Oh, that is so unfortunate.
That's
Looks
painful.
like Fenty got loose exiting 2, and DeWale just got collected as a result. We can maybe get a replay in a moment.
And and uh that's just really unfortunate for Fenty there. Looks like Fenty has immediately pulled the car into the garage. So we might be able to get a replay here. I'm not sure, but you saw it live. You saw exactly what happened. 26 got a big run off of turn two right there and just lost control of the car, came back down into the O2 of Zach DeWale. Here we go. Here's a replay. There you see the 26 up high in the dirty air of Kaler, about 2 car lengths behind, just loses control of the car, overcorrects it both directions. And Zach DeWale, the rookie, just nowhere to go. Uh, I don't believe he has used his fast repair yet. So hopefully he'll be able to bring it back out on track because DeWale was having absolutely incredible run in his first premier race. So that is painful to see for him.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. So if he can get that fast repair used and get back into the race, I really hope to see it because I think he has the pace to run up front and potentially win some CIL races. But he's now going to be way at the back, and with how many laps are left, and how many laps we've had under yellow, we're probably not going to get enough of a green flag running for him to fight his way back up. Um, I'm curious if Fenty had a some sort of hardware issue or
That's what I was thinking too, because you saw as soon as he made contact with the O2, that car disappeared like he
yeah,
had disconnected.
that
Uh,
sounds more like a penalty or if he had too many incidents. I think he was involved in an incident earlier, correct? So uh, that perhaps those incidents and contact with other drivers had happened to accumulate for enough over the length of this race. We've increased the length. So that increased length might have accounted for uh, more and more penalties and happened to have iRacing step in and take action, which
well, we don't actually have a DQ limit
oh,
for
my bad.
uh
So then that must have been a hardware issue if he
yeah, so
disconnected like that.
I'm not yeah, we have a the when the drivers make contact with either another car or the wall a certain number of times, iRacing's auto steward will issue them a drive-through penalty. For those of you who aren't familiar with the iRacing incident points system, you can be issued a certain number of incident points depending on how heavy your contact was with the wall or another car or anything else. And if you amass a certain number of incident points over the course of a race, you will be asked to drive through pit road and serve a penalty. Then for another X incidents after that, you can do the same, but we don't have a hard limit here in the CIL because these races are so long. So yeah, you're right. I'm wondering if that was potentially a hardware issue, and we saw a failed Santiago Tires Alt F4 potentially, but I don't know. I'm not going to speculate there. All we know is 26 spun, and then that car immediately went into the garage. There you saw a couple seconds ago, the O2 is back out on track, so it looks like he brought his car down pit road, got the fast repair, and is back out on track. But John, as you said, there might not be enough time left in the race, green flag wise, for him to work his way back up through the field.
Yeah, it looks like we will have the one to go, one the green this time around as they run around turn number two. Uh, we will get some more green flag action in just a moment at Kansas. Uh, Looks like we have Jared Kaler in first position alongside Andrew Williams in the number 23 machine, Ryan Lusich in P3 for the 139, Ryan Whitlock in the 81 in a fourth position, and then Athena Leclerc having made five positions from the start of this race in the St. Clair College machine in the number 61.
Field side by side once again, stacked up and ready to roll. Drew Williams, Jared Kaler, your front row. Williams won the race off of pit road, so he is the control car. Actually, scratch that. The field got 2 by 2 early, or race control called off the one to green. But it looks like Kaler is your leader. Excuse me. There's a little confusion there between race control and the stewards. But Kaler, Williams, Lusich make up your top three. Ryan Whitlock has made his way up to fourth, followed by the 61 of Athena Leclerc, who has finally worked her way up into the top five. So brilliant run for her so far. Hopefully she can bring it home. Matt Nordberg in the 076, Scott Ratliff in the 747 has also made another great run from the back of the pack, as you may have seen involved in that incident earlier in the race. The 076, Matt Nordberg, still creeping in the bottom part of the top 10. Very consistent race for him tonight. He hasn't really moved out of the top 10. Jeremy Miller in the 169, Tyler Stone in the 33, and Nick Stockner has climbed his way back up to the 10th position. So you're seeing some cars that have crashed out early in the race, but thanks to that fast repair, they've been able to get their way back up into the top 10 on pace.
Yeah, I think the stewards decided to extend the length of the caution to let some of the cars further back. They needed to get the wave around, and iRacing must have not granted them that wave around. I believe that was Ethan Decatur, Daniel Hunter, Ethan Head, and Esteban Munoz getting a wave around and getting an extra lap, uh, or more getting a lap back as they start to catch up to the field on the front straight. Uh, will this be the last lap until green, Zach?
Yes, I believe the lights on the pace car are off, so this will be green this time by.
Nice.
Be coming up on lap 90 by my math, and I'm horrible at math. That should be 44 laps remaining in the race. So still a good amount of time for you to make your moves to try and stick your nose up into that top 10, top 5. And if you're if you're really any one of these top 10 drivers, you could be challenging for a win right here. But there you see our front runners, and they have been up front all race. And Jared Kaler, Drew Williams, Ryan Whitlock busted his way into the top 5 pretty early and has stayed up there along with Ryan Lusich, Scott Ratliff, and Athena Leclerc, and Jeremy Miller as well, rebounding from some crashes earlier in the race. So now I believe we're going to go back to green. Once again, the field stacked up side by side, ready to roll. The pace car has pulled off coming out of turn 4. Jared Kaler is the control car. Approaching the Geico restart zone. Kaler is going to take a very late launch, and we are back to green.
Yep, Jared Kaler not getting as much of a run as we've seen from other drivers, but he's still going to get in front and have only himself to be concerned about. No cars alongside. Andrew Williams on inside of Ryan Lusich for the second position, managing to make it single file. They got some three wide cars out back. I think it's Matthew Nordberg, got Scott Ratliff and Jeremy Millerin. Scott Ratliff now on the outside of Jeremy Millerin. I believe that is for
Whoa, Miller
P
and
number
really loose
7.
right there.
A little bit of contact exiting turn number 4, but I think Scott Ratliff will be able to pull out in front of Jeremy Miller. And as most of these cars start getting single file, and I think Drew Williams is trying to do a bit of bumping to the back of Jared Kaler to take the lead. I think
Claire got a
Leclerc on the
massive
out.
run down the straightaway there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, some of these cars are really trying to. Some drivers up front that really had to make up a lot of positions. So uh,
Oh,
the
contact between Ratliff and Miller, and it looks like they're both going to keep going there. You see on the right side of your screen, we stay green, but it looks like one of those cars may have gotten loose coming off of turn 4, collided with the other, and I think the 747 of Ratliff has damage. He is significantly off the pace through 1 and 2 as Miller, and I believe, was able to keep going. So we may have a replay for that coming up soon. But we stay green here at Kansas.
Yeah, lots of angry words being spread on the radio between drivers. But yeah, it looks like Ratliff managed having to get a bit loose exiting turn number 4 and drifted down low, hitting his door on the Milleran's door. But I think he Ratliff lost a lot more pace than Milleran had. So I don't know if he was just sitting on the apron, waiting to get back up to speed. Uh,
And yeah, it looks like he has gotten back up to speed, but a smart move by the 747 right there to not stick his whole car back up in the traffic right there and potentially cause another incident. Great move by him to uh, keep it on the apron and out of harm's way as we now look back towards the lead, this ever growing battle for the lead. The 23 of Drew Williams has his nose up in front of the one, but not for long as the one uses that high line that he so loves to get a huge run down the back straightaway. But the 23 of Williams is not lost. Kaler and Williams need to be cautious about going side by side because Ryan Lusich and Athena Leclerc behind them are prowling in for the lead, and they have now introduced themselves completely into this battle for the lead. Is now here comes the 81 of Whitlock. The 61 of Leclerc going to drop back just a little bit, going to give these guys up front some room to space in case something does go down. Carbon copy of last lap that time around. Williams with just a nose length of an advantage off of turn 2, completely dissipated by that run. The one got off the high side. The one still running the high line through 3 and 4, taking the longer but faster way around, and that's how he's going to get these huge runs down the straightaways. Will now clear the 23, but the 23 comes under fire from the 139. Looks like the 23 and the 61 of Leclerc may have made some contact with the wall on entry there. Drew Williams really still trying to get that low line to work, but he just doesn't have the run off the corner like the one of Kaler does off of turn 2 right there.
Lucic now is trying to make a move on the second position, trying to overtake Andrew Williams. I think we were mentioning Leclerc and Lucic made contact. I think it was actually Leclerc was giving Lucic a bit of a bump draft. Now Leclerc trying to bump draft Andrew Williams. But I was going to say, like, while we were watching Williams and Kaler being side by side, being one of these cars right behind you, kind of would hope that they would just kind of end their battle, so you could then not have to take it 3 wide. Oh, and I think we have another caution on the circuit.
We do. But yeah, you're right. When you're a car that's trying to challenge for the lead or position up in front of you, the best thing that you can possibly see is those cars side by side while they're way up ahead of you, so they slow themselves down. And then when you get right up to them, when they go single file and you get a big run, you can just breeze right on by them. But we're gonna see what happened in this incident that just brought out this most recent caution. Looks like some contact between the '09, the 20, and the 29. They're collecting the 169 of Millerin. That is the 29 of, I need to check my sheet.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
29 of Cody Carey, the rookie from Ball State, involved in that one, as well as the 20. Uh, I believe is that Hogarth or Maloche? There's too many St. Clair drivers. I can't keep up with them all.
No, on my screen, Malosh is running a bit of a different livery. The number 20 is, let me look, is, yeah, it's Alexander Hogarth.
So there you see the '09. Yep. Number 9 came up, '09 came up, made contact with the 20, sent the 20 into a spin, came down and collected the 29, and just Jeremy Miller in the 169 just with nowhere to go. That was a pretty sizable lick. So hopefully his car is all right after that. He has already used his fast repair after being involved in one of the earlier incidents in the race. The '09 is of Treston Yoder from Robert Morris University. So uh, rough night to be a St. Clair College fan. It's I think just about every car they've put in the field has been involved in an incident. Uh, but you have to look at the silver lining. You have Tyler Stone and Athena Leclerc, two of your drivers in the top 10 right now. Uh, once again, we see a night of ups and downs for some of our larger organizations. Clemson University, another one of our big organizations off the bat. They have a driver who is currently challenging for the lead, but also another car taken out earlier tonight. Even with University of Alabama Huntsville, they also have a car in the top six, excuse me, challenging for the lead, but some other cars taken out over the course of the night. But such is the nature of driving in these kinds of races with plenty of tight, close quarters action where you're trading paint and rubbing bumpers. Just a product of this kind of racing, but uh, it's not the cleanest of races that we would have wished for tonight in our season opener.
Yeah, at this point, I think we're gonna have about 33 laps of racing, guess maybe 31 once you get back under green. But yeah, a lot of incidents. I guess we can talk about a lot of attrition, and I guess in the drivers meeting or such after the race, there's gonna be a lot of heated words. I have the ear on the radio, and there's a lot of banter going around between these drivers, arguing about kind of what's up with all these incidents, and it seems basically it's unrelenting, all these incidents. So all these drivers up front, they all understand that you have to kind of stay out of all this madness if you want to have a chance to score some good points or score a win under your belt in the CIL. But uh, a lot of these drivers out back just trying to get what they can get, and ultimately giving what they can get to other drivers.
Yeah, the front of the pack has been relatively clean. We had the one incident between the 169 of Miller and the 124 of Stockner. I believe Stockner received the penalty at fault for that one. But other than that, the drivers up front have been able to keep it very very clean. They're able to keep their head down. They're able to keep that mentality that we talked about earlier. To keep it calm, focused. Just focus on the driver up in front of you. That's part of their success. That's part of the reason that they're where they are right now. A huge boost out of the Geico restart zone. Williams may have spun the tires right there as that outside line did not get going.
Yeah, lots of space now for Jared Kaler up front. Ryan Lusich actually making a move. I believe he made two positions to find himself up now in the second position, possibly trying to make a move on Jared Kaler. Some side by side action with Ryan Whitlock on the outside of Tyler Stone for, I believe, is position number 6. We got Zachary Whale on the outside of Nick Stockner. I think both of those drivers have had some incidents or wrecks, and now they're both up in the top 10, fighting for some additional points. Uh,
There's the double oh
but
06 of Culpa back into the top 10 as well. You saw his pit strategy earn him the lead for a healthy chunk of the middle part of this race. Glad to see that he was able to work his way back into the top 10, as well as Nick Stockner, who was involved in that incident. And I think the 61 of Leclerc just may have tagged the wall a little bit there through 3 and 4. Didn't get quite the run. Didn't get quite the run she wanted down the front straightaway against the 076 of Matt Nordberg, as they're still side by side for this fourth position going into turn 1 and 2. It looks like Leclerc is going to secure that position driving around the outside of Nordberg.
yeah, well, the top three has seemed to start to stabilize and realize that fighting will only just take them away from the leader. A lot of these cars out back just trying to a lot of side by side action. We see Matthew Nordberg and Ryan Whitlock behind Athena Leclerc, trying to take for the fifth position on the grid. Looks like Matthew Norberg, and I think we might have a spinning car, a wreck. They don't have a caution out yet,
Ooh,
but I think the 006 might be
trouble.
involved.
We stay
As he's
green. Came
lost.
up out into the front of the field. Oh man, that was close.
Well, it
I don't
looks
know
like
who
we are
that.
going to stay out green. Surprisingly, as normally whenever a driver calls out that there's a wreck, there's normally a pretty decent wreck. But we'll stay green. We'll keep some nice racing out on the track instead of it would be I racing, not I pacing, as some people like to say.
Yeah, this race has certainly felt like eye pacing, but the green flag racing that we've seen has been absolutely incredible, especially at the beginning and towards the end of these green flag runs, as you see some drivers really working those two different lanes they can take on the restarts, trying to make moves, waiting for the car to come to them, and then it fades a little bit as you can see each driver starting to conserve their tires, and then the car kind of coming back to them when they've settled into another rhythm to really make these aggressive moves as the 61 goes again into the wall. Just barely, though. Looks like she's going to keep her momentum out of turn four, trying to chase down the 23 of Williams, currently sitting P3 right there. But Leclerc has still not been able to shake the 076 of Nordberg. Those two are still side by side after it's all said and done. As the 23 now looks on the high side, kind of the upper middle lane against the 139 to try and chase him down. We had some action right behind these two going at it as well between Leclerc, Nordberg, DeWale, and Whitlock. Zach DeWale has now worked his way back into the top 10, now looking to challenge for the top five after getting involved in an incident about 20, 30 laps ago. So good to see him slicing his way back up through the field. This rookie continues to impress me as this run goes on. He's done absolutely excellent tonight, just about every way. So great to see him finding his comfort zone so early and being able to challenge for these top five positions outright.
Yeah, I'm watching Athena Leclerc on track. She's really struggling with controlling this car. She seems pretty loose. Had a bit of a tank slapper exiting turn two, grazed the wall again. Actually, Ethan Munoz. I wanted to mention him. He's right in front of uh, Athena Leclerc on track right now, making a move on Matthew Nordberg on the outside of turn two at the moment. He's currently a lap down. He's currently the first car off the lead lap, so he's trying to. Normally, we see people use the free pass to get on the lead lap. He's trying to do it the old-fashioned way by just being faster than everyone else.
And there you see the number 9 of Esteban Munoz behind, trying to chase down the leaders to unlap himself, as you said, the hard way, the old way. Just pat. If you can't get a caution to unlap yourself, just go do it yourself. Uh, so great drive we're seeing right now from the 9 to try to get himself back on the lead lap. But this lead pack has pulled away from the drivers behind them. The gap from Williams to Nordberg sitting right at about 7/10 of a second. So great driving we're seeing from these leaders as the rest of the pack battles behind them. Now you see the 9 going to try and make his way around the 23. 23 shuts that door, says, "What are you doing up here? You're not supposed to be racing me." And the 9 will supposedly use better tires to get around on the bottom right there.
Yeah, they're really starting to get spread out now. I'm glad that we're getting some more. Maybe I shouldn't mention if we maybe we should hope for
Yeah,
some more
better
yellow
better to
flags and try to jinx it. But
better to not jinx it.
looking like we're at. Yeah, most of these drivers in the grid now just trying to run to the end. I think we have maybe about 20 laps until the end of this race. And Esteban Munoz still making some really strong moves on these lead lap cars, on these leading cars, trying to get his lead lap back onto the lead lap. Now, all that's in his way is Jared Kaler in the number one, who's also taking the high line up front. Looks like we got Matthew Nordberg challenging for against Andrew Williams for the third position, the last podium spot. Uh, He's looks to be right on the rear bumper, train of two behind a train of three. If we include Esteban Munoz, it looks like he's on the inside of Jared Kaler for the lead. Matthew Norberg falling behind with a bit of an oversteer moment. Now he's going to be under the threat of Cody Carey on the inside of turn number three, trying to take away that P5 position. Uh, pretty strong move from Cody Carey, and opportunistic as well. Sometimes you just have to make a move out of nowhere, and he definitely made it stick. Now Cody Carey running right behind Andrew Williams again on the inside into turn number three, making a move of the back-to-back laps. Andrew Williams doing nothing apart from running pretty much right into the wall, but I think he managed to keep a bit of a gap. Looking back at the front, I do believe Esteban Munoz has gotten back onto the lead lap, making a move on Jared Kaler. I believe if we have another caution come out, he's going to be right behind those leaders. So it's really good racing and discretion, I have to say, from Esteban Munoz in the number 9 car to intelligently get back up. But we have a 3 wide battle for the lead here between Jared Kaler, Ryan Lusich on the on the inside of Cody Carey, making the move now in the second position. He started on pole for this race, and now he's right behind the leader again, the current leader, Jared Kaler. I believe he's a rookie, so he's proving himself to be. But he isn't going to take the lead just yet. Still under threat from Ryan Lusich behind. A lot of these drivers opting for the high line, but Cody Carey able to run it down low. He's on the inside. He has to run down the front straight. He's going to take the lead. He's going to lead a lap. The pole position cars now in the lead again. This battle's not over. It's going to keep going until the end of this race. I'm sure of it. And I have to wonder how much Esteban Munoz is having on this battle, because you really do not want to sit behind that dirty air. So it's if Esteban Munoz runs high, you want to run low. If Munoz runs low, you want to be high. So if he keeps flip flopping, uh, you could have the strength on one turn or a set of turns, and then the next lap, you're kind of out of luck, stuck with your pants down, if I had to say. Sorry. But it looks like he has the pace to overtake Esteban Munoz at this point. He's right behind. He's catching. Jared Kaler is falling back at quite a rate, I believe, at several car lengths, and now he's on the inside of Esteban Munoz, overtaking what to him is a lapped car, and they're keeping it clean, no contact, but he's going to have quite an easy move. What looks like on my timing sheet as a 5/10 gap between Cody Carey and Jared Kaler for the lead of this race. And Esteban Munoz looking a bit loose, but able to keep it straight and avoid wrecking the leader as he gets relapped by Cody Carey.
Yeah, I mean, Cody
Really,
Carey is doing absolutely fantastic today. I'm absolutely amazed at what Ball State has been doing. I mean, they've been really putting in the work recently for getting some of these drivers. I mean, if any of you guys have been watching any of these road races, you would know that Alif, our Muhammad Alif, is also, I mean, is going to be dominating this GT3 and possibly Formula C season. Or FC season. And so, I mean, he's a Ball State driver as well. As he hits the wall, gets a little loose. Hopefully, he can pull it back up before the turn. Because trying to get back up on, there he goes. Trying to get back up on that turn from the apron is pretty difficult to do. Have you ever tried to? I don't know about you, but anytime I've tried to get back on the apron, I'd say there's a good 50-50 chance that you're going to spin out. How about you?
I think I saw that earlier today. I think it was Scott Ratliff who caused one of our first cautions, who had just spun it re-entering the apron. It's certainly a difficult spot because that contact patch on your tires is cut from maybe like the size of a playing card to a size of a pencil uh, on a piece of paper. So you really kind of, if you're off on the apron in a turn, your best bet is to stay on the apron until you're not in a turn.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely the size of the contact patch definitely changes throughout the race while you wear your tires down. So when you first start racing, I mean, you might have a pretty nice contact patch that might be pretty big, but as you heat up those tires and they gain that pressure within the tires, they definitely change a bit. So and as they wear down, all of that just shifts and it can get smaller, especially if you touch that apron. But here we go, Cody. Cody Carey he's actually making the lunge on the number 9, who seemed like he was flying earlier. Cody's just making the run for it right now. Has a massive lead on the half a second lead on Jared Kaler in second place right now, who I thought was going to just run away with this, but Cody Carey apparently had something else in mind tonight.
I think that was potentially a pit strategy call that we saw there. Cody Carey, I guess the only way that you can drive away from the leaders like that is if you have better tires. But the one is saying not so fast. The 29 getting squeezed behind the 9 here coming off of turn 4. Going to try and swing up in front of the 1 here down the front straightaway. But obviously a very excellent call, whether it was a pit stop strategy or a tire saving strategy, whatever it is, the 29 of Carey, the rookie, has absolutely sliced his way up through the field to take the lead.
I think Esteban Munoz, maybe his tires are starting to fade because he had just hit the wall. He had some good discretion, letting these leaders fight it out since now Jared Kaler's started to climb back. But I only think that was because Munoz was battling to stay on that lead lap. Uh, I think he's fallen back quite a bit now because he has that damage, but he's staying on track, kept it straight, um, kept it out of the way of other vehicles. As it seems like this battle for the first position has started to stabilize pretty evenly throughout the field. Thankfully, that didn't cause a caution, or else we would have had to start asking questions regarding Spingate or any other sort of nefarious actions at all sorts of races.
Little AlphaTauri strategy there. I probably shouldn't say that. But yeah, Ball State is another program that has really come alive this offseason. They brought in a ton of new drivers. Cody Carey, a rookie. Muhammad Alif, also in this field, a rookie. Alif demonstrated his prowess last week in our Formula C and GT3 Challenge races. So obviously, two very, very good drivers from this school that are making their name in school well known here in the CIL.
Yeah, certainly. Although, unfortunately, one of Cody Carey's teammates, Muhammad Alif, who you mentioned just before, uh, he's about 59 laps down at the moment because he was involved in a incident earlier this race. But uh, I believe he has another teammate somewhere in the field who is also a rookie. Not sure where they are. If you could point me to them.
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of rookies on this team, but they're clearly very good. Uh, it's a very good program that's developing. They've come out absolutely guns a blazing. As you see, the 29 just took the 5 to go signal that time by. So this long, grueling war of attrition is finally coming to a close, and it looks like we might have a shock winner. Definitely did not put the 29 high on my list of drivers to win this race. I definitely would have gone with our current P2 driver, Jared Kaler, for the win.
I mean, you're saying Cody Carey wasn't or he wasn't your pick, but he was our pole sitter. He got involved. I don't know if it was strategy, the cautions caught him out, or if he was involved in an incident. He does a small love tap with the wall, loses quite a bit of time, but yeah, he was our pole sitter, so yeah, he was never really out of it and just kind of Mickey Moused his way into this, like you see Alex Bowman in the Cup Series. But
Oh, come on now. Don't do that.
no, but yeah, he was in it from the start. I think he fell back a bit. We saw some shuffling in the grid, but yeah, we have about 3 laps to go at this point, and I think now
Here
Jared Kaler is
comes
realizing, or finally
Kaler.
utilizing on a bit of tire saving he must have done earlier, trying to make some moves, running different lines to close up the gap. It's about 3/10 as they last cross the line. And Matthew Nordberg, we can't count him out. He's right there. If there's some incident, if we have a caution, he could come in and spoil the party.
Hopefully this stays green because I want to see this battle for the lead. Now 2 laps remaining here at Kansas. 3 miles left. Less than 3 miles of racing left. Jared Kaler still not out, trying to make that high line work. He's loved it all night and going to try to get it to work against the 29 of Carey, who seems to prefer that low line along with the 076 of Nordberg. Now Nordberg is an alumni, so he is technically the alumni leader right now. However, Cody Carey and Jared Kaler are students, and they are battling for the lead, but it looks like as they approach the 1 to go, white flag out in the air now for Cody Carey. Kaler may have burned his stuff out as now Nordberg is placing him under, is coming under fire to him. Well, I certainly did not expect this. You mentioned that he was the pole sitter, but sometimes single car speed on track, just sending it as hard as you can go, doesn't necessarily equate to on track speed in a race. But Cody Carey has gotten the job done seemingly out of nowhere. Was nowhere near the top 10 on that restart, but he will come to the line in his rookie race. Cody Carey from Ball State is a CIL winner. Congratulations, man. That is impressive.
Yeah, wonderful drive from Cody. I think it was mainly just strategy. I think he and Esteban were on that same strategy, but he was just in the place to make it happen. You don't want to be that lap down because you kind of just not much goes your way when you're there. But he was able to use those fresh tires to get into the lead, and now we can use those what I assume are less worn tires and do some nice burnouts. I hope.
And hopefully he will burn it down. He absolutely deserves this. He survived the crashes. He may have been involved in one early on, but was able to keep himself resilient, keep himself going. Oh man, that was close. As he's now going to burn it down and celebrate. He had the composure, he had the strategy, and he had the skill. And he's certainly earned his first checkered flag in his CIL career. So congratulations to Ball State and Cody Carey on their victory today.
So we have 2 cars. I think it's Matthew Norberg on the start finish, also trying to do some donuts because he's technically entitled to it. He exit his car. We still got some more donuts.
And Matt Nordberg, Cody Carey is your student winner today. Matt Nordberg in the 076 from NC State is your alumni class winner today. Nordberg has really come alive these last 2 seasons. He was the runner-up to Robbie Vrabel Jr. From St. Clair College last season, where Nordberg ran into some technical issues during the Homestead race, and he lost the championship that way. But this is an absolutely incredible comeback for this NC State team with Nordberg. So congratulations to him as well for really bringing it home.
And I think Cody just blew up his own engine doing those donuts. But we don't have to pay for that stuff here. It's all free. So
Hey, look, man, it's your first race. It's your first race win. You can do whatever you want with that car. Blow the
yeah, no, I
tires, blow
know.
the motor, do whatever you want.
Yeah, of course.
So we're currently waiting for the drivers to exit their cars. We're going to try to get them in here for some interviews post-race. Very exciting race that we saw. A long war of attrition. But John, take a breath. It's over. So as we wait for the drivers to come to the broadcasting booth, let's talk about our takeaways. I think what's the biggest takeaway that you have from this race that you've seen so far?
Well, I'll say one of our big takes yesterday in the prospect race was experience. We saw Toomey take that race, but today he's the third from last car. He's 71 laps down because he was involved in an incident. So I think today is basically the opposite. Sometimes you don't need experience; you just need to be bold. You need to have a nice, strong strategy and take it to and run with it instead of knowing when to pick your battles. If you got wrecked, you're done for. But ultimately, we have a rookie, one of our earliest, one of our youngest in terms of experience in the CIL, taking the win in front of our reigning champion. So experience takes second place to just being so hungry for that win.
Fortune favors the bold. And speaking of the bold,
Watching this, I think I kind of saw you drop pretty far down the grid throughout the race, but you managed to fight it up. Explain how you were able to pull this win off. Was it through strategy or just sheer pace?
I was talking to my teammate Mohammed, and you guys saw that first lap. I got into the wall, dropped back to 10th, and then got in that one incident, spun myself out. And then I just decided right there, I'm like, okay, I'm too heavy on the gas, got to get off of it a little more. And then talking to Mohammed, I'm like, man, if we stay.
Certainly, wonderful job. Do you have anyone who you would like to shout out or give thanks to for your win tonight?
Well, I gotta shout out my teammates. They're all supportive. Evan was coach that brought me on last year. Didn't do any races with CIL last year, but got introduced to the team through that. Um, Mohammed's always there for support. Um, my dad told me what line to run. I ran that line, and it paid off. I won.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
yeah, congratulations, Cody. That was a great job out there, man. We'll be expecting big things from you in the future. So, best of luck on the rest of the season, and hopefully, we'll see you back up here.
Thank you.
That was Cody Carey, our race winner, our overall race winner, and our student winner. Now, how about let's talk with our second place finisher, the current champion, Jared Kaler.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. What did you think of that first race?
That was a lot of fun. I mean, Kansas is one of the best tracks on iRacing, I think, just because of the fact that it's multi-groove. You know, you can run at the bottom, you can run at the top, you can run the middle, and a lot of great battles this whole race between everyone, it felt like. And, you know, I like running the wall, so it's kind of stuck with going up to the wall. I couldn't really make the bottom work too well, especially after a couple laps. And that run there at the end, I just kind of burned off the right rear. It felt like a little bit too much, and it was hard to get the power down on exit. But congrats to the 29 car on that win.
Yeah, we saw you pretty much. You were running up front for most of the race. We had a lot of cautions tonight. Those kind of affect how you had to take the race, or did you just kind of run full sail?
Honestly, with all the yellows, I felt like I could kind of run a bit more aggressive because I kind of had in the back of my mind, oh, you know, in 10 or 15 laps, there will be a yellow. And I think that kind of hurt me there at the end because we had that it was probably close to 40 lap run there at the end. I was expecting another yellow to come out a little bit later on, and I was going to pit on that yellow to get four fresh tires, but so I kind of pushed a little bit too hard there on that run. I was like, all right, there's going to be another yellow here, and there was never another yellow. But yeah, if anything, I was able to be a bit more aggressive, I think.
All right. Well, thanks. Congratulations on the second place. Do you have anyone who you'd like to shout out for your second place finish tonight?
I could shout you guys out for putting on the stream and everyone for tuning in and watching.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations and have a nice rest of your night.
Thank you.
That was Jared Kaler, our second place overall finisher and second place student finisher. How about let's talk to our alumni winner of tonight's Great Plains 200, Matt Nordberg. Congratulations on another dub. How do you feel?
Thanks, Zach. I think it was a super difficult race today, and I think definitely at the end with the long run after a lot of the caution short runs, it was definitely a good one to win in the alumni class. Just wish I could have won overall.
Yeah, we saw you running right up there for the last couple laps. You were kind of sniffing the exhaust of Jared Kaler right in front of you. How did that feel knowing you could have overtook him for the second place position?
Yeah, I think at that point in the race, I knew behind me I didn't have really any other alumni drivers challenging, and I didn't want to go side by side and risk something with Kaler just to have both of us end up in the wall and get no points or very little points tonight. I think at the end there, I think I got a little bit on his bumper, misjudged how close I was, but I didn't really want to fight him too hard, especially knowing I already locked up that alumni first place tonight.
All right. Well, thanks. Do you have anyone who you'd like to shout out for your third place overall and alumni win tonight?
I just want to thank you guys for putting on a great race tonight. Definitely a lot of fun. It was a long one tonight. I think it was a very mentally challenging race. I don't know what any of the other top three said, but I know from my end, it was definitely at the end, it was getting tough. But thanks for putting it on, and thanks to all the drivers in this league. Had some really good racing at the front, super close. Tempers flayed a little bit, but it was a lot of fun.
Hey, great as always to have you up here in the booth, man. Congratulations on your alumni win and overall podium, and we'll hope to see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you've heard from your top three finishers as well as your student winner and your alumni winner. Congratulations to Cody, Matt, their wins, and Jared Kaler on yet another podium finish in the CIL. The three-time champion picking up exactly where he left off, as well as Matt Nordberg doing the exact same, and a rookie statement made out of Ball State University. So, John, any final thoughts before we wrap up for this evening? Any bold predictions for the season?
I kind of, if how about I would maybe a little bit of a friendly bet that Cody Carey is gonna take the championship.
That is a bold. That is a bold prediction. I'm gonna write that one down, and I'm gonna hold you accountable to that. That's certainly a called shot.
Yeah, I mean, he had the very strong moves to take the lead even after having a early early race, a bit of contact or damage, and he was able to fight back. And that final strategy call that just gave him so much extra pace. I think that he has, even though he's a CIL rookie, he's racing with the veterans.
You make a really good point, but man, I just can't stray away from Kaler. If I'm gonna pick a champion, I can't not pick Kaler. He's got three under his belt. He comes out tonight and he led well over uh, well, probably not well over half, but probably close to half of the laps in the race. A very dominant performance. He picked up where he left off from the off season. He's got class, he's got composure, he's got speed and skill, and I don't know that anybody can challenge him yet. So I think we'll make a friendly bet on that. But I think
Yeah.
another prediction that I have is I think Cody's not the only rookie winner that we're going to see this season in the student side. We've got almost 20 fresh faces that are ready to fight their way into the Premier League from the Prospect League, and I think they're just irking to go at it with these guys. I think that's not the last that we've seen out of this rookie class.
Yeah, certainly. But uh, a lot of them are going to have to fight their way into the race tonight with the prospect series. So, it, assuming that they have to fight twice, that could give them the experience. So, I definitely am with you that we're going to see another rookie winner. But uh, I think we're going to see, at least out of the rookies, most of the ones that we see tonight are going to be uh, those a lot of familiar faces. Like the experienced ones, the fast ones of our prospect series are going to stay up there. They're going to keep qualifying for our races tonight, another Tuesday night. So uh, it's definitely I feel like that's too comfortable of a prediction, though.
Well, we are only one round into the 7 round season. So a long way to go. The dust has settled after our first round, and we have our first winners of the season. Congratulations to our Great Plains 200 winners, Cody Carey from Ball State and Matt Nordberg from NC State, as well as all of our class podium finishers. Before we head out, just a reminder that next week we'll be back to GT3 Challenge action at the Twin Ring Motegi, taking a trip across the Pacific Ocean to Japan. Same time, same place, twitch.tv/Collegiate iRacing League, and on the Collegiate iRacing League YouTube channel at 8:45 Eastern. And so, on behalf of the Collegiate iRacing League, my co-commentators John and Christian, we'd like to thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see y'all next week. Stay fast.